Let's talk about power games, the principle of authority that we have playing out in just about every direction of our waking experience. What do I mean by power games? These are the games you play wherein you create yourself as being less in power than something or someone else in your reality. What you have to notice is every power game you play is first set up in your own consciousness, or you would never magnetize yourself into environments where those games are being played. You wouldn't be compatible to those patterns. It's always consciousness first, and you have to start with that premise for you to really make changes that stun your mind into realizing just how powerful you are. So you have a model of the world within which there are accepted rules for the way things are. We have this premise that says this is just the way things work in this reality. We have the boss-employee duality. We have the parent-child duality. We have the authority and the subordinate duality. We ultimately have the ruler and the ruled duality, and you put yourself into one of those aspects constantly. And what you have to know, again, what you have to notice and know for yourself is all of these power games are structured and accepted as real and valid in your own consciousness first, and that's where your power lies. They each come with their own set of rules for how to play the game. Every single one of these dualities, and there are many of them, come with their own rule sets. They come with their own responsibilities for how to properly play the role. And it's when you awaken to your seat of creatorship, your true power to create your environment, to set up your environment in the way that pleases you best, that these unspoken rules become apparent in your own awareness. You see yourself playing and behaving in this game and thinking, wait, that in no way matches up with me knowing how I'm sourcing my reality. So it's a really interesting point of awakening when you begin to notice your role in these power games. So being in your power isn't about rebelling in the world. It's not about rebelling against these power games, because you're still creating yourself to be in relationship with these games if you try to rebel from them, if you try to struggle and resist them. What you want to do is you want to deconstruct these power games within your own consciousness. You want to take yourself out of the equation in every context, or in the context that you want to take yourself out of within your own mind first. And notice for yourself, who decides what happens in your experience in the different aspects of the human game. Look into your experience right now and notice where you've set up in your own mind that something or someone else has all the cards, that something or someone else is in charge, that something or someone else is the decider. It's these beliefs you want to first deflate. It's these patterns you want to first pop and bust. Everything, every single detail of your experience is born out of the patterns you allow to perpetuate in your consciousness unquestioned. These patterns play out, these patterns that say you have to be this way and that way in relation to this person or this situation, are rules you are adding momentum to, that they're rules that you're mobilizing and continuing to cycle in your own being, in the unconscious portions of your being. So when you begin to take the fuel out of these stories of other things and people being in charge of your moment-to-moment experience, it's when you begin to deflate, pop, bust these stories that you have ongoing, that you really begin to see just how powerful you are, just how creative you are. The power games, the stories go something like, someone else is in charge of what I should do with my life. Someone else or something else is in charge of my schedule. Someone else or something else is in charge of the way I should be dressing. Someone else or something else is in charge of my finances, my income, my wage, my rate, whatever it is, on and on it goes. This game of constantly ascribing power, giving the definition of power to something apparently external to you. And what's really interesting and fascinating and amazing about this is that this is all done in your own consciousness first. You are authoring these scripts in your own mind without questioning the validity and reality of them. So when you're no longer holding these patterns in place, when you're no longer perpetuating them in your own consciousness, the way you show up in the world, the way that you show up in your experience dramatically changes. You literally change your own physical body, your posture, your presence, your neural networks, everything about you is reconfigured. And that's really when the fun begins. That's really when your playful being comes into its own way of showing up in every moment. So notice where you are playing in these power games, and wherever you want to bust free of them, begin to deconstruct those scripts you have playing without question in the background of your own consciousness and in the unconscious portions of yourself. And they'll make themselves known when you go looking. It has to change in your own consciousness first. That's the only way you'll ever put yourself back in the seat of authorship